There's no question about it. He has got to hate to see me coming. This time we're covering none other than Kazuto Kirito, the Black Swordsman, the White Knight. So clean, he can play for both teams. Yeah, that guy. Now you might be wondering why this part took so long to come out. Well, truthfully, it's because I low-key still had to watch the War of Underworld arc. I'm not gonna lie to you. And you know how SAO is, it can get rough. On that note, this cannot be an SAO season without some weird shit too. So please, do not be too shocked by it. If anything, I'd hope you built up some sort of tolerance by now. I'm very, very close to 20k, which I wanted to hit by the end of the summer. And since that target seems like it'll be reached, I'm aiming for 50 by the end of the year. But hey, cut the small talk. Let's go. So last thing we saw was Kirito on his usual saving the world shit, but just before the season ended, his brain gets deep fried because someone on the outside pulled the plug on him. In the underworld, Alice is tending to Kirito, who has unfortunately become a vegetable. He won't even speak. He doesn't have that twinkle in his eyes anymore. This shit can bring a nigga to tears, man. Alice is wheeling him out of the crib, but Kirito still wants to keep those twin blades on his hip. He won't forget his roots. That's a real nigga right there. And he even takes the blue rose sword that belongs to Yu-Gi-Oh with him too. RIP to the kid. Quinella. It goes back to the time Kirito defeated Quinella and shows how Briculi had to step up to take over the Axiom Church with Quinella gone. Alice carries Kirito back to their original village, but since she's technically a criminal, her own pop shuts her down. Lame ass dude. Limited to some code. You gotta break them chains, my boy. Anyway, this means Alice has to live on the outskirts of the village with her little sister helping her from time to time. For now though, she makes her bread by cutting down trees for this freaky looking guy. She asks Kirito to lend her his sword, and he sort of agrees, and then you have the usual nerd emoji fodder talking about some she can't cut down. Aye. Back it in. You don't know she has that swaz there. This is the same girl that nearly made me switch up on Asuna. Do not play. So Kirito falls onto the ground, and it's because these nerds took Yu-Gi-Oh's sword and are playing around with it. So you know Alice has got to press them. Just check that screw face. But they're saying that Kirito let them take it. What part of this makes you think that he let you? And then they have the nerve to stand there all stank faced like she's in the wrong. Is this nigga serious? Night comes and LG pulls up on Alice begging her to come back to the Knights, but she's not really trying to do all that. Then LG starts talking crazy about Kirito, saying he's gonna have to take him off the map. Boy, I wish you would try it. This is what you call a duck. He waited till Kirito fell off to run the fade. That's shameless. Again, Alice won't let Kirito slander slide. Rightfully so, and LG leaves. Alice is sleeping next to Kirito and she low-key too close to this married man, but hey, we move. Then Kirito must have smelt the danger or something because his body starts tweaking out. Next thing you know, Alice goes outside and the village is on fire. I'm sure I don't have to tell you by now, Kirito's main character genetics are probably the highest tier I've ever seen, and it doesn't stop because he can't think properly anymore, nah. This nigga sensed danger and real life got his body to move towards his sword so that he can be on his white knight shit again. There are levels to this game. There are levels. Unfortunately though, Kirito's not able to do all that and Alice heads out in his place to save the village of morons who were hating on her. She's better than me. She's telling everyone to evacuate, but this greedy pig is telling everyone to hold it down to save his mansion, knowing damn well that they will in fact get baptized if they try that. So Alice has to take off her cloak and show the 24 karat real gold bust down suit she got on. This is her way of saying, your money and my money ain't the same, little nigga. So yeah, they all listen to her, totally not because she made the orders as an integrity knight. And peep how her pops gets the glazing. Where is your shame? Just 10 seconds ago you were on her Deasley. Goblins and orcs invade, but Alice's dragon wants to get in on the aura farming and vaporizes them with his dragon pulse. He out there taking notes from Dragonite. But Alice has to one up the dragon and takes off her eye patch, revealing her now healed eye. Then she pops that ultimate, turning her sword into millions of flowers, forcing all of the mobs back. Alice decides to leave the village with Kirito in order to fight once again, and then it cuts to the real world. The current situation is the place Kirito is in, the underworld at, is simultaneously being attacked by real life special ops. I honestly forgot how much random BS be happening in this anime. They talk about these guys are about to blow open the control room and extract out Alice's AI from the underworld, and I'm here thinking they did not got to be doing all that when we have today's sponsor Polybuzz right here. Get started today through the link in my description. They unlock all the premium features today. This app allows you to jump into the minds of real or fictional characters and have real life conversations with them. There's no need for blowing up control rooms. I mean, just check this conversation I had with Alice. She's got to understand that Asuna's still top dog in the Kirito camp, so she got a ways to go before she reaches the top. I don't think she's taking it too well though. And I've been missing my day one Kirito ever since his brain got turned to mush, so I roll back the years by talking to him too. I customized both the Alice and Kirito characters, so make sure to interact with them, or if you'd like, you can even create your own. And I'm sure you guys know how I feel about Sinon, she's no exception. Matter of fact, you could even get group chats in this, so I might as well talk to the whole gang. Make sure to use code narrative in the search bar for a free trial, it really helps me out. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe this is how they're talking to Yui that whole time. So the plan is for these guys to get to Alice's Fluct-like cube from the sub-control room before those guys get to it from the main control room. And somehow, this whole operation relies on Kirito getting Alice to the World's End altar so she can actually be removed. Yes, even in a coma-like state, Kirito is still carrying this group of bums. Anyway, the reason Kirito is how he is because he lost the part of his Fluct-like that basically gives him emotion and personality that can only be provoked by strong emotions being felt. Long story short, he's gonna need something big to reignite his flame. So this is the villain of this story, and he be on the game too playing Gungale, and this somehow translates into real life military level skill. Hey, then again, Kirito be on some BS too in real life because he roleplayed as a hero of justice, so hey, what do I know? He has no real motivation for taking part in this mission. It's honestly purely just for the love of the game. In present time, he and his crew have taken over the main control room and are trying to penetrate the sub-control room that all the Wrath guys are in, but that's proven difficult. This tech guy, his cut is insane by the way, is trying to get them into the game so they can get Alice from the inside. But since starting off as a normal guy like Kirito in the beginning would take too long, they managed to access high-level players' accounts, but those are the characters that are situated inside the dark territory. You know on 2K when you need to drop somebody off and you have to spin back on your best build rather than creating a new brown shirt at 60 overall? That's basically what it is. That's lessons with narratives. The other team has the same idea, though this is for Asuna to use. Back in the underworld, the Dark Territory generals have realized the Pontifex is no longer around. Naturally, you think this is the time to attack, but this guy is actually reasonable and wants to prioritize peace. Unfortunately for him though, the real leader of the Dark Territory just logged into this bitch, and he wastes no time. They call a meeting because the king is back, and the in-place leader asks what he plans for the future, and this nigga is talking about death, war, suffering, plague. Yo! Who is this nigga? The Dark Territory King is about to sleep for the first night, and this fine she'll walk up in there talking about how she's going to tend to him for the night. Might I add, this woman is married. I just know he was licking his lips in excitement, but it wasn't all sweet because she tries to pack him up for the greater good. Though, once again, unfortunately, the man she's dealing with is sick in the head and chokes her out. And no, this was not part of no After Dark wrestling. He really did that shit. It cuts to a flashback of him with a child with a screwdriver in this little girl's ear. Something he did because he wanted to figure out where the human souls were. Yes, he exterminated this innocent girl who was low-key messing with him too. You know, just as a move. You're weird. Buddy? His buddy ends up like, I don't know, eating the little girl's soul, and ever since then, he's been trying to replicate the feeling. And then it happens with this girl, and yeah, I don't know, that shit must taste like freshly baked cinnamon rolls because peep his reaction, he's hooked on it. And I guess now he has even more motivation to taste Alice's soul. Gabriel holds another meeting and brandishes the girl who tried to slime his head just as a point. And her husband is right there too. And yeah, he couldn't just stand for this and starts acting out. The windows start shattering, he gets lightning visual effects, he even gets his whole Broly transformation. So tell me why he's suddenly engulfed in darkness and then he real life disappears from the planet. Yeah, you guys all got the right reaction. What type of shit is this? Back where the light actually shines, the army and Integrity Knights are preparing for the worst with a potential war on the horizon. And since Kirito is low-key packing up Integrity Knights left and right, and also the Pontifex left, their ranks have greatly decreased. That's when Berkuli shows up and he looks ready to slime Kirito. But even if he is her master, Alice is prepared to throw down. Berkuli attacks Kirito with some hidden trick, and apparently Kirito is able to defend it through sheer willpower alone. Yeah, my dog will never change, he's built for this. Turns out Berkuli was just pretending to not like Kirito, and he reassures Alice that he will be back when they need him most. Alice is alone with Kirito and she's holding back her true feelings and feels that maybe if she let them out, Kirito will come back. Hey, she gotta chill, he's married. Luckily, that stops short when Tease and Roni, Kirito and Yujio's former page, show up outside her tent. They ask if she's seen a black-haired guy, and that's when Alice says yes, and they start getting all excited because Yujio might be there too. But this life shit gets tragic, so she allows them to see for themselves. And yeah man, this almost brought a tear to my eye because Yujio, who's promised to marry Tej, is dead, and even Kirito is non-responsive. They're all preparing for the war council, and Fanatio's there too, though this time she's embracing all of her badness after Kirito defeated her. There they decide a plan to hold off the enemy attacks with Alice as the focal point. Tease and Roni are given the responsibility to protect Kirito, and then they set out for war. The Dark Territory troops begin their attack, and the Knights respond in kind with the Flamebow Integrity Knight shooting out straight flamethrowers, and Fanatio with the laser beams. Though that bum LG isn't doing so hot on his side, his heart don't beat like that. LG is meant to be in front of the other Integrity Knight Renly, but that one has disappeared from the battlefield, so right now they're getting walked down to hell. Back on the front line, whatever mob this is meant to be, I don't know, like an ogre or something. Anyway, their leader can't stand for the disrespect of getting punked on this badly, so he starts bugging. Like, literally his core is shaking. He even gets the red eye that Yujio and Alice got. They got him attacking his own men before jumping right at Fanatio. Somehow, his glitching affects her and she can't move out the way. She starts hoping and begging for her man Berkuli to save her. But it's not Berkuli that comes, it's one of her side Integrity Knights. And hey, I was gonna start disrespecting this no-name, but she was low-key cold as hell in this exchange. She really held it down because just about every tendon in her snapped. Like, damn, how do you get hit so bad both your Achilles tear? And I know you're not Kevin Durant, you are not coming back from this shit. After that attack and repelling the leader, she just straight up like dies. But at least this motivates Venatio to use her power fully to cut this guy clean in two. That's beautiful. Now Dusseldorf got his own boss fight. The goblin leader waits for him to run out of arrows before he attacks. Little does he know Dusseldorf got a deep bag and can still box with a sword. Sort of, you know. He gets held down by two goblins and has to be saved by one of his men. The goblin leader swats him away and is about to finish him off, but Dusseldorf adapts like he's Isagi and uses his sword as a bow. And this shit ends up letting off a whole pack of punch flamethrower. One shot on the goblin leader. These guys are low-key bums now that I'm thinking about it. Like, look! This is the Integrity Knight that disappeared from the battlefield. All now, I thought he was cold but a little unruly. No, he's just a real-life bum that's hiding from the fight. Tease and Roni catch him hiding in there, and he really doesn't have an excuse because these two are just too pure-hearted and don't judge. A goblin finds them though, and he's trying to get down to business. You know how them goblins be. And this is where we get a flashback of Renly when he accidentally killed his friend during a training session. And this messed up his ability to fight ever since. But he sees the vegetable-ized Kirito tensing up because he wants to defend them so badly, and this makes him realize that he has no right to stand there if he calls himself a knight. So he pulls out his weapon and slices the goblin's brain off. He keeps up that momentum by running outside and slamming all the goblins. Hey, I do not know what type of weapon that is, but he's really cold with it. The mountain goblin leader shows up and originally stops his attack, but then he pops his ult, making this fidget spinner, and yeah, he sauced on him. He ain't even got a drop of blood in his fit. This one dark mage sends her minion horde to attack, but Berkuli is standing on that side, so I don't really have to say too much. She decides to send the troops on foot to send the barrage of projectiles onto them. However, the spells won't activate as they have no life matter to consume due to Alice taking all of it already. She consumes and fires all the life energy of the dead on the battlefield into one singular attack, and she honestly looks sad when she's about to do this too. Just look at the aftermath. If anything, she looks like the villain here. Now, the dark mage is reporting back to Emperor Vecta, and she says that they don't have enough dead people on the battlefield to generate attacks, so he's like, oh word? How much firepower do we get if we slime all of these niggas? And the mage is getting all hot and fuzzy because of this. These are your allies. The orc leader doesn't want any part of it, but unfortunately, it ain't even really his choice. In this time, Alice also decides that she'll head to the World's End altar by herself, but Berkuli tells her to bring some backup. The dark mages sacrifice 3,000 of the orcs, and their leader has no choice but to idly watch. But because of this, they spawn in something right from a Dark Souls game, and it's coming straight for Alice and her escort. They try to lead it elsewhere, but one of the waves continues past them, and that's where LG shows up late and flies straight up in an effort to lead it away. Now, this must be his attempt at regaining some aura points. I'm not too surprised. It low-key worked. He calls on his sword, which is the king of serpents, and demands it to show these worms who's really the king of slithery animals. They're going right at it, boxing in the sky, but he's just too greatly outnumbered. They eat away at him until his life force drops to 0, but his job isn't done. Nah. He goes into overdrive and his health is currently heading into minuses, and when he's finally far enough away, he's blown up. His body floats down while cut in half, then Alice catches him, but by then it's already too late, I'm not gonna lie. He's already seeing bright lights and visions of his mother. Long story short, it's over. Alice grieves, but this only turns out more. She goes straight for her attackers and starts turning people into statistics. Emperor Vecta sees Alice and starts getting a hard on for her soul, so he begins ordering his remaining troops to move in pursuit of her. Alice and Berkuli are about to be intercepted by the Dark Territory's pugilists, but another Integrity Knight steps up to ward them off, and honestly, this fight has two of my favorite characters from this arc in it, so you're really gonna know it's gonna be some heat. So the pugilist leader sends one of his fighters to fight her, and she almost seems, disrespected that he'd only send one person. Lady Shaita is attacked by the pugilist girl, and she blocks, or so we thought, because what on earth is this? She sliced through that bitch like jelly. Then Shaita skips right past the leader and starts mixing up his men. I mean, just look at that sauce. They are not boxing with her. Though their leader can't just stand there, so he throws a flame haymaker. And Shaita tries to block her arm, but this was low-key disrespectful. She must think that they're sweet, and he blows her armor off. She tries cutting with her sword, but she isn't able to penetrate his tough skin. Then she weaves the follow-up. He looks around to all his homeboys and realizes during her mixtape she wasn't even really going all out because she didn't even kill anyone. Now, if you don't know, the word pugilist is fancy for boxer. So my boy had to start emoting just to show a little bit of his steez. Check him out. He's out here shadow boxing. Look at the footwork. Into the flash step. Oh nah, you got it. I don't want to call him he or him the whole time, but I can't really remember them calling him anything but champion, so I guess we're going with that. Champ rushes at her fist first, but this whole time this was a feint. He really went for this calf kick. Yeah, he's been watching some of that Adesanya tape. He mixes it into this 3-piece combo with another kick and straight to the chest. Shaita loses basically all of her armor. Hey, let me find out you have some fine shit under all that armor. You could do it a little bit more meat though. You too. Your legs were soft just now. I don't know why I gave her that accent. Man, you got me f***ed up. And stop looking so damn sleepy when you're boxing with me. You're right, my fault. This interaction is a lot cuter in the show. I'm just a nigga commentating though. Don't blame me. They both load up their big boy attacks and clash, but the craziest thing is they're enjoying it. The champ feels like he's about to lose, but he's fine with it because at least he's going out to a real one. But someone jumps in and ruins the 1v1. I mean, at least they didn't attack her, They basically have to stop because the main enemy force caught up. Knowing this, Shaita stops fighting and retreats too. But hey, They at least exchange names before it's over. My boy is in there. So you might be wondering where the other guy who entered the underworld, the Gabriel, is. Turns out he's out here about to slime out Roni. But she calls her back up just in time. Unfortunately though, that nigga has the hood manual etched in his brain. If you're about to slime someone, make sure you're not alone. And his whole squad pulls up out of the shadows. So Roni's getting worked, I'm not gonna lie. And when she's at a knife point, a bright light starts shining in the sky. Yes, these niggas start seeing their version of God. Why does she kind of look like? And she just waves her hand and drops everyone into a ravine. Then she drops Vasago into one. Look, it is Asuna. Anyway, she gets straight to looking for Kirito and his body reacts to her immediately. He even starts crying. She steps outside to meet with whoever the leader is and Alice attacks her straight away. Get your popcorn, guys. I've been waiting for this. Alice asks what she's doing next to Kirito and Asuna lets her know that he actually belongs to her. Sorry Alice, but I can't lie, she's right. Berkuli interrupts their fight, but Alice says that Asuna can't see Kirito without her permission and this makes Asuna tight. But she accepts it. If that's me, I'm not letting nobody tell me I can't see my sweet husband Kirito. Pause. Asuna explains to them that the guys in here aren't real people and that there is actually a real world out there. And they honestly kind of just accepted it. Through the story, Alice tells of her breaking the seal on her eye. Asuna realizes that there must be a mole amongst the rat staff, as having a code that stops the people of the underworld from thinking for themselves would go against their own objective. Asuna decides she will join the fight in order to help Alice reach the world end altar faster. Later that night, Asuna wants to see Kirito and Alice says that she will only let her on the one condition that she tells her all about Kirito. Then they start flexing the amount of time they spent with each other. Even Roni and his mentor from way back when, Liena, joins in. Sometimes I can't stand this nigga. The next day, the Dark Territory army is trying to cross the ravine Asuna made and they're doing this by crawling across a rope. Are we even sure this is the most practical way? Like, ain't you guys have magicians? Like, go magic across it. And who even gave them the command to do something this sickening? Yeah, makes sense. They're making it across, but the knights are really ruthless in this and murk them while they have their pants down. Hey champ, you can't complain. All is fair in love and war. In the real world, this tech bad guy sets up an open beta for the underworld as a game where the objective is to slime the knights and sends it to all the Americans. So effectively, they're bolstering the enemy numbers with real players. Yui alerts the rest of the gang about what's about to happen, and at the same time, Kikuoka receives a call. Somebody is here to help. It's my girl Sinon. I was waiting for this. Oh, Sugo is there too. Yui tells them the only way to help is to convert their accounts from this trashy ass Alfheim game into the underworld so they can fight with better equipment to make up the lack of numbers. Elizabeth is trying to convince all the friends they made up till now to convert to and help, but yeah, for the most part they're like no. And yeah, this is real life. Nobody's trying to lose all their stuff for Kirito. I don't know that nigga. Elizabeth gives this cool in-depth speech and everyone decides to forget basic reasoning and joins in. So all the American beta testers load in and they seem to be enjoying the hell out of themselves. Little do they know they're just straight murking the people of the underworld who have souls just like them. Asuna uses her terrain change ability to help, but this takes a toll on her body, so the Integrity Knights decide they'll step up and start fighting back. Champion decides enough of this and goes against his commands. He's gonna fight for himself, and because he's actually listened to himself first, his right eye gets that error 871. But he's a real trench baby. We've seen from that boxing stance, so he doesn't even blow it up now. He rips it right out of the socket. That's not even all. He decides he's about to jump across the ravine and not even think twice. He's just about to fail, but then his big bro, Real Life, flings his arm attached to this big ass rock at like Mach 5 so that Champ can use it as a launch pad. If this isn't 100 chemistry, I don't know what is. I'm sure this was his guy from the sandbox. Asuna's getting jumped, but out of nowhere, someone comes in throwing straight haymakers and uppercuts, and yeah, who else would it be? He asks Asuna to use her ability to create a bridge, and in return, all of his men will come and assist them versus the American players. Alice runs off by herself, getting captured by Vecta, then Sheta and Champion reunite and decide they'll fight together to hold out the Red Army, while Asuna and the others try catch up to the Emperor. Oh, we're losing? I can send more in. Shit, how much can you send? Shit, like 20 mans. So yeah, this tech op says he has another wave of 20,000 enemies lined up ready to join the fight, and Vasco wants to go back, but this time he's on his main account. Another wave spawns in and Renly is about to sacrifice himself, but all of a sudden a great light appears in the sky. No, it can't be. That's my Shayna! And peep this entrance, she appears and starts raining down hell immediately. She don't even be using a bow for real, that's talent. She wipes out the ops and she comes out looking clean as hell. Finally, the top two are reunited. They're on my screen again one more time. In Kirito's absence, you guys are all I have left. I've never been so happy in my life. Though the season ends there, and we will as well, because the video is going to be like 40 minutes if I didn't. Close that back door, can you shake that back home? Part 2 coming soon. I love Sinon. You should love Sinon. It's been Narratives. Peace.